we go. So good morning again, everybody. Welcome to our sneak peek of IvyLearn. We have just a few goals for today's session. First of all is to provide some resources to allow faculty and staff who want to get started learning about Canvas now to be able to do so. So let me make a very emphatic statement. This is in no way something we consider training on Canvas. This is just a sneak peek, just to let you, for those of you who either haven't seen the system or may be curious about some of the things specific to the way IvyTech will use Canvas, just to let you see those, to start getting you those creative juices flowing about how is this going to make what I do with the classroom different in Canvas. But we will be doing a ton of training through the spring semester. Hopefully we get you excited about it too. We're really excited about this change. We think it's a really great opportunity for IvyTech and really want to promote that excitement and enthusiasm. So what we're going to be doing today is taking on a quick guided tour of our Canvas learning environment, which we are going to call IvyLearn. And I see that Kathy's already translating for me there in the chat box. I will refer to it as our learning management system. I'll refer to it as Canvas. I'll refer to it as our LMS, and I'll refer to it as IvyLearn. So those all mean the exact same thing whenever I use one of them. This is the world I live in. It's kind of hard sometimes to step out of that acronym and those sort of local name changes. So we'll take you on a quick guided tour. We'll hit some of the highlights of the things that we think are really exciting in the environment and things we think that we hope you'll find exciting too. Talk a little bit about some of the individual level customizations they've made in Canvas. You'll get access to Canvas. Everybody in the state will get access to Canvas sometime in mid-February. We're still working all of that out, the exact date, but it'll be sometime in mid-February. And one of the first things I'm going to urge you to do is to go in, set up your profile, set some of your own settings and customizations. But we want you to know how to do that and to feel comfortable with that. And then I'm going to demonstrate some of the basic skills in Canvas, like adding assignments, creating content, and all those sorts of things, just so you can see it is pretty easy to use. So with that, I'm going to go over here to my Canvas environment. Oops, I'm on the wrong page. Yeah, just a second. Don't freeze up on me. There we go. All right, so this is our Canvas environment, and this is what is replacing Blackboard. We've got some folks asking why we switched from Blackboard. Actually, I will direct you for that, if you're interested in learning more about that, to our IvyLearn launch page, and Kathy will put that URL into the chat panel. But we actually have a link over here on selection process on the right that'll take you through all of that information if you're interested in it. But this is also a great resource for you to know about, and it's included in our handout to learn about Canvas as we're rolling it out. So we'll always have lots of information here for you, and we're updating this pretty frequently. So back to my Canvas environment. This is our actual Canvas environment. One of the nice things about Canvas is if you've taught with Canvas at another institution, anywhere else in the world that also uses Canvas, then it's going to be very, very similar to you. Unlike Blackboard, Blackboard can be really customized to the institution. Canvas is not like that. Canvas is more sort of like maybe Gmail or Facebook, that everybody who uses Gmail or everybody who uses Facebook, it works the same way for them. Now, each individual can customize it a little bit, but generally speaking, the product itself works the same way, no matter where you're logging into it or where you're using it. Let's talk a little bit about this view in Canvas. So here is my dashboard view. This dashboard view shows me the courses that I have, and for us also the organizations, these two cards down here are organizations, that I have selected as my favorites. And I can change those favorites very, very easily at any time. I'll show you how to do that in just a second. I have some choices, though, as I use my dashboard, whether or not I use it in this card view or using this toggle button that is right up here at the top right-hand side of my screen. I can also change that over to a recent activity view. Okay? And it's completely up to the user. It's completely up to you or up to your students how you use it. But it also, the goal here is to try to put the things that you need right in front of you. Now, I prefer this card view because on the card view, I also get those same sort of notifications about what's new, and I get it by course. So you'll see right here on the bottom left, of this card, I've got some new announcements. That's what the megaphone means, and some new discussion posts. That's what that little chat icon uses or means. So I could click through to go straight to those as well. So I kind of get the best of both worlds using this screen. The other thing about this screen, this is sort of the default screen Canvas opens up to, is that I also see this view called Coming Up right here. And as a student, if I had things that had been graded for me recently, I would also see that here under Recent Feedback. We'll simulate that for you in later training when we actually talk about how to teach with Canvas, so you can see what that looks like from a student perspective. But I would be able to see that here. This Coming Up view that's here on the top right, this is built automatically for the student and for you as the faculty member, because I'm logged in as a faculty member right now. It's built automatically as long as you use the due date functions when you're creating calendar items and activities and assignments in your class. And I'll show you how you do that in just a second. You're going to see this Coming Up view in a lot of different places, and I'll try to highlight it to you. But this Coming Up view, if you notice, each one of these has a name underneath it, so it's showing me by which class I have these in, and also sorting them by date. And it goes, I think it's 7 days out, so I can see things that are due for up to 7 days. And we'll actually add something to this a little bit later to see what that looks like. This calendar view that I have up here on the top right is the exact same as this calendar view I have over here on the left-hand side. So I can click here and also see my system-wide calendar. Now you'll notice when I come in here, in my system-wide calendar, there's a set of checkboxes over on the right-hand side that lets me choose which calendars I want to see. Now right now, I only have one of these calendars showing. The reason for that is I was actually doing some work in this particular class over the weekend, and I wanted to sort of double check to make sure that I had everything listed properly for that group, and so it was easier to do that by hiding everything else. It's very easy, though, to turn all my other classes back on. So let's turn on my currently active courses, which are, hang on, I'm missing one. It has some, there we go, all of those courses there. So you can see all of those different courses that have active events in them. Only a couple of them actually have truly active events, but those are the ones I've been working in the last few days. Okay. This, again, is the same calendar view here that I also have in my dashboard right up. A little internet slowness this morning. There we go. Right up here at the top. Okay. Let's go ahead and leave the dashboard for a minute. We're going to come back here when we want to work on our courses, but let's actually look next at how we could customize that dashboard. So to customize that dashboard, I can actually go to the Courses button here. And this Courses button, again, right at the top of it, will list all of the courses that are still on my dashboard. So this is just another way to always get to my courses. And that's the thing about this navigation bar. So this navigation bar, this green bar down the left-hand side, is always here in Canvas. So if I click into one of my courses, that navigation bar doesn't leave me. Well, let's say I want to go back to another course. I don't want to have to go all the way back to my dashboard, click on that course. If I want to just quickly go to another course, I can just click on it from the Courses menu. So that's why you have both the dashboard view and the Courses view. My Courses view, though, again, has the list of all of my courses that are on my dashboard, and then there's this link to all courses. So when I go out to that link, you'll notice that some of these have colored stars next to them, and some of them have clear stars. That determines what's on my dashboard. So a colored in star means that I've selected that course to be on my dashboard. To remove one from my dashboard, so for instance, I'm done with this import from C3 course, I just uncheck it. There we go. And it disappears off my dashboard. So it won't be on my dashboard when I go back over to my dashboard. Okay. Let's just take a look at that, just so you can see that I'm not making things up on you. Hang on. There we go. And you'll notice there were 7. Now there's 1 less. Imports from C3 used to sit right here between the Getting to Know IvyLearn and the import from C4. Kathy's added a really great tip into the chat that the dashboard is only going to display 20 courses at a time. So this list does stay pretty clean, and you have to be pretty frugal with what you put on that list. But again, you can get to all of your courses from the All Courses menu. Groups is a feature that we're testing out here. This is another one of Canvas's features to try to put everything that you need sort of right at the top level for you so that you can always get to it. Because remember, this global navigation bar is always available to you in Canvas, so you would always be able to get to this. What you'll see in the groups area are, first of all, any sort of system-wide groups that you're located in, as well as any course level groups that you're in. So let's take a look at what the All Groups page looks like so you can see what I mean. So right now I am in a group, two groups at the system level, the IvyTech Community College level. I'm in one by what we call a sub-account, so I'm in one in the organizations level. But then if I was in a group for my course, so maybe you have group work that you do in your course, I would be able to see those here as well. So I could always get to my groups very quickly too. Let's just take a look quickly at what's in our groups. Groups are a little bit different than organizations in Blackboard. Organizations in Blackboard function much like a course does, and you have different roles and permissions and all of those sorts of things. We will use courses to mimic that functionality in Canvas. So for instance, you see I have a couple of my courses are actually named organizations. So we have one for our super users that they're going to get access to later this week, one for our online technology coordinators. They're also going to get access to later this week if they're helping us to test some things in Canvas. But we can also have groups where everybody has the same level of permissions. So there's not really a leader of a group. There are, everybody can post anything that they want to in Canvas in groups. The things that you can put into Canvas groups, you can add in announcements, you can add in different page content, so content you create right in the system. You can see a list of all of the people in the group. We're going to come back and look at how really nice this feature is in just a second. We can have discussions, and we can also have file storage. So you can see it's organized much like you might be familiar with a Windows or a Mac file storage. And you can also use conferences and collaborations. We won't talk about those today. Those are a feature we'll talk about in later training as we work on this. I see Skip has mentioned when I sort of brushed past pages that it's sort of wiki-ish, and that is very true. And we'll highlight that a little bit later as we talk about how to create content. And then we also have an inbox in Canvas. We're not to the point where we're testing this out too much yet, but this is another one of those features where Canvas works really hard to try to bring things down to a level so you don't have to sort of dig through things. So if you think about how you do this in Blackboard today, if you want to check your course messages in Blackboard, if you're using the course messages function, you've got to go into the class, into the communication tools, into messages, and then you finally get to your messages. In Canvas, you can just click the inbox. All of your messages are right here. You'll see up here at the top left, I have all courses selected right now, but I can actually hone that down to actually get to a smaller number of just to one specific course if I wanted to see just my messages for that. And we have an inbox, unread, starred, sent, archived, and then submission comments. So a lot of different streams that we can have. Again, we'll do more training on this a little bit later as we think about our training. This is going to be in our Teaching with Canvas training most likely, which will happen closer to March, April, May as we're doing some of the training rollout. We'll talk about the commons a bit later on. So for now, I'm going to actually go back to the account and talk to you about when you do get access to Canvas for the first time, again, mid-February timeline. What do we want you to do? And the very first thing we really want you to do is we want you to come in and we want you to create an account. When you come in for the first time, you won't have a picture of yourself there. What you'll actually have is a little gray circle that has a little outline of a human in it, and we'd like you to set up your profile. Why do we want you to do that? Well, because it's your profile in the system, and it's one of those things as a faculty member that will really streamline your workflow as you think about how you do things. And let me show you why that is. Here under the profile is where you or I will come in to set our profile. To add a picture, I just click on this little pencil icon, and I could add a different picture if I want to. It's very simple to upload a picture. I can take one with my camera, or if you want to use a Gravatar image, you can do that. I can also drag and drop onto this screen if I want to, so I don't even have to try to choose. I can just drag right onto it. Okay. And then I can add in additional information like contacts. I'll show you where to set these if you want to have your LinkedIn and your Twitter profile visible. But I do have those, so if you click on my LinkedIn button, my LinkedIn profile will pop right up there for you. Okay? And as will my Twitter profile. If you want to click on those, will come straight up. And then I can add in a biography. The biography is really easy to add just by doing the Edit Profile button over here. And I could edit that text if I wanted to. It is just plain text, so no additional HTML or any other coding or anything like that, just a plain text biography. This is also where I could add links. So I've decided to use on mine links to the different Canvas community and Canvas guides, which I'll be showing you in a minute. I've already shown you the IvyLearn webpage. Notice it's easy enough to add another link here. So if I wanted to do that, I could just hit the Add Another Link and maybe do one to the college's website as well if I wanted to. There we go. It's that easy, and hit Save Profile. So now what does that do for me? Well, the great thing that it does for me is it has updated my profile all the way through Canvas. So faculty, if you think about one of the things we ask you to do as a part of policy is to always display your instructor information, your contact information inside of your course, okay? That's great, except you have to do it every single time in every single course. Well, now you don't actually have to do that. You can actually do that here one time, and then let me show you what happens. Inside of my course, so let me go back into one of those. We'll do this one. There is a people link in every course that you have. You will have this link as will your students. Right now, I'm the only person. No, there are my test students are in this course. We're still working on that. But this is sort of the way it would show to students and to you as well. Myself as the teacher, I show up here at the top, and I can click straight through as a student or as myself to that page to see that profile. Okay, now I can see a little bit more information in profiles because I have admin rights to the system. Most people would only see this information. Instructors, you would see a little additional information as well, but you wouldn't see the same level of detail that I have as an administrator. Okay, but you can get to that profile from any people page, so you update it once and then just keep it open. And April asked a great question, if students would see your teacher C number. I don't believe so, April, but I noticed that today too. We've been tweaking sort of user accounts as we're getting ready for that February rollout. So I've made a note to myself to check on that afterwards to see if that's going to display publicly or not, because we certainly don't want that to happen. So mine may be displaying publicly because I may have actually typed it in there at some point. I tend to touch all the buttons, so that happens to me sometimes. Okay. The next thing that we want you to take a look at in your account is your settings. And this is important because it allows you to then be able to set up your notifications. So we're going to look at these in order. And you'll see, first of all, that I've registered my LinkedIn and my Twitter. So this is where I did that so that my profile would show up on my profile page. But you'll notice also over here on the right-hand side, let me grab my spotlight again. Over here on the right-hand side, I can add other contact methods. Okay, and so I've added in my personal email address. I've also added in my SMS text message number, as well as my Twitter profile. And then because I have the Android app downloaded on my phone that's sitting next to me, I also can see, I can set my device, my notifications for my device from here, so it shows as registered here. Okay, and so you'll want to add these additional contact methods so that you can then customize your notification settings. It's very easy to add a new email address or a new contact information. And so I have another email, and I can register that one. It'll do the normal thing that it'll send you a confirmation link. You have to go click on that in your email, and then it'll be set up. So I'm going to hit OK. You'll see that it's there for right now, but it's not actually confirmed yet. I'm going to delete that one because I don't actually want it in there. Okay. A couple of other things that you can do from this settings page that I want to highlight before we move on to notifications. First of all, you can also decide if you want to have a high contrast user interface. That's what UI means. So if you have a vision impairment, or it's just easier for you to view a high contrast version of the system, you can actually turn this on. And then as soon as I hit save on this page, that would make that change. I actually don't want that, but you can do that. You can also have links set to underline. Right now in Canvas, when you create links, and you'll see me do this in a few minutes, rather than underlining them like you may be accustomed to on a lot of pages, it actually just changes the color of them and makes the text just a little bit bigger. But you can actually have them set to underline if you choose that. So that's an option you can set if you want that as well. Two more things on the settings page I will highlight for you, which are really cool new features in Canvas that we're just excited to see what you, our faculty, and what our students do with them. First of all, there's a button here that if the faculty member allows it in the course, and both of these are actually, they're dependent on you as the faculty member allowing this feature in your course, you can allow students to download all of their submissions as sort of a zip file. And so that way at the end of the course, or sort of any time throughout the course, if the student want to download all their work, they could do that using the submission feature. We haven't tested this out a lot yet to see if there's anything that sort of doesn't get included. Some things that we anticipate wouldn't get included is if they submitted things like to a Pearson or a McGraw-Hill or Cengage, something that's outside of Canvas, that wouldn't get downloaded in this file. But anything they uploaded directly to Canvas we think should. We're still testing to see whether or not discussion posts and those kinds of things to that level of detail. You also, though, and this one, I think this one's more interesting, is you can allow students to download their course content. So, for instance, if I was getting ready to go on a really long plane ride, maybe I'm taking that trip to Italy that I've been dreaming about for a really long time, and I'm doing that trip while I'm taking a course, and I want to be able to read on the plane, and I'm not going to pay for Wi-Fi on the plane. I could actually, if my faculty member allowed it, I could download my course to my tablet or my device so that I could read the course content while I was offline. Now, of course, I can't submit assignments. I can't see anything that is on a website that the faculty member links out to. I can only see content that's actually created directly in Canvas, but I would be able to do some of that reading and maybe work on some of my assignments offline while I was in the airplane flight, or maybe while I'm at my kid's soccer game or something like that. So I think this is a really useful feature, and I'm really interested to see how our faculty and our students use that. Okay, so these are some of the things on settings. Remember, we want to set the settings first, because then we want to go over to notifications, and we want to set our notification. Now, this screen's a little overwhelming the first time you see it, so take a deep breath. It's okay. And you'll notice here there are 4 different options for notification preferences. I can have it notify me right away. That's the check mark. The little clock icon is to send a daily summary. The little calendar icon where that is available is to send a weekly summary, or to not send anything via that kind of notification method. Okay, so those are my options, and you'll see here these different contact methods are what were on my settings page previously. So I had 2 email addresses, because remember I deleted that third one that I didn't have set, and then I have my text message, Twitter, and push notifications for my devices. Okay, so here are all of my different methods. And this is something that I think you will do a good bit of playing with as you start using Canvas, and you sort of see all of the different email that it will send you. Canvas will notify you about a lot of different things, and so you're going to want to play around with this a little bit as you sort of customize what you want to get email on and what you don't want to get email on. So one of the things that I noticed is now I actually have a course. I actually have a course now that's going to have some submissions in it, and I actually want to start getting notified whenever I have a new submission. And I want to get notified actually on my mobile device, because I want to be able to grade student work as quickly as possible, and I'd be able to do that from my mobile device because I can grade on that device. And if I wanted to, I think I want to get a daily summary by email just to make sure I didn't miss anybody. So I've just changed those 2 settings. It's that easy to check those boxes, and that'll give me a note every time I get a submission into the system. Okay, so that easy to set your notification preferences, and you've got all of these different preferences to set. Okay. So the last 2 things here on the accounts page, so again, we're under our account. The last 2 areas on account are files and e-portfolios. Let's go to files first. And Skip asked a really good question about the notifications, if that was all or nothing for the courses, not course by course. And Skip, it is. I have not dug into, it's all or nothing for the system. I've not dug into the course settings enough yet to know whether or not you can also customize that by course. Kathy's saying it's all or nothing. So she's much more adept at the courses than I am. It probably is an all or nothing setting. All right, so here's the files area. Now this is one of those new features that we have in Canvas that we've never had before, and that's a centralized file storage. So think about this as a place where maybe you've created an instruction document for your students that you use in all of your classes. In Blackboard, you would have had to have uploaded that document over and over and over again, or at the very least, you would have had to have built the module once and then copied it over to all of your other classes. In Canvas, you can actually upload those documents into a central place and manage them from there. So you don't have to try to go back in and change them in all 4 classes after you've copied it. Okay, so there's a real advantage to putting something in your files area first and managing it from there. So let's take a look at how that might work. So here is that same handout that all of you downloaded. This is my Microsoft Office version of it. And if I realized that there was some sort of error in it, I could actually manage that right from here. Okay, so it's a really nice way to be able to do that. I can also preview it to make sure it's the right document and take a look at that. So it's a really, really nice feature there. And you can see I can rename it, I can move it to a different folder, all of those sorts of things. Okay. The other thing we have under our account is the ePortfolio section of Canvas. Again, we've not built a lot of things out with this yet. We'll focus on this a little bit more as we get later into the implementation with teaching with Canvas. But I'll just show you a quick sample of how a portfolio is laid out. Here in the portfolio tool, we always open up to instructions in the middle. And your portfolios right now, mine is private, but you can actually give people access to it without actually making it public, or you can make it public. You'll notice that I can download it as a zip file, so I can take it with me to another institution if I needed to do that, or publish it on my own website, and then I can delete it. So you as the faculty member, or later your students, they maintain sort of ownership of this. And then here on the left, we organize portfolios into sections. That's what's on the left-hand side. And then each section has pages. So these are the 2 pages for my home section. And let me grab my arrow back. There we go. And in my major project section, I just have the 1 page, which is the IvyLearn rollout. Again, I haven't built a lot into this. In my home section, here's my main page. I can edit pages very easily using the Edit Page button. I notice that I've got this rich text content. There's also a lot of information here on the right-hand side about other things that I can add. One of them is this course submission option. Now, I don't have any course submissions in the system yet, but if I did, I would be able to add any item that I've already submitted to a course into my portfolio, which is, again, part of the point of portfolios is to be able to showcase some of the work you've done in class. I don't have to re-upload it. I don't have to remember any of those sorts of things. I can just click straight over to the course and upload that submission. Okay. So the ePortfolio, again, really nice new tool. We're just starting to play with it a little bit, but something that is a little farther ahead than where Blackboard's was. Blackboard did have an ePortfolio tool that was just rolled out about a year ago, I think, that we had not made a lot of use of, but we'll be starting with this from the very beginning. All right, so with that, I am going to go back to my dashboard, and we are going to dive into courses and how a course works. So I'm actually going to start with this blank course, this import from C4. So this is a brand new course, absolutely nothing in it. And this is sort of what your development shell might look like when you first log in. You'll have a development shell available to you. We're working on that to make sure everybody has one when they first log into the system. And then starting probably just after spring break, your courses for summer, your actual courses will be available to you, assuming that you have access to them in Banner. And I think I saw Shelley ask that question, whether or not you'd need to have access to the course in Banner for it to be created in Canvas. And yes, that'll still be the same way that we do things with Blackboard. Banner will actually sort of create the shells in Canvas for us. But you'll get access to your actual summer courses most likely right after spring break so that you can start building those out. And there are a few different ways you can get content into Canvas. Unfortunately, there's not an easy way to just sort of take all the content in Blackboard and dump it into Canvas. I've said a few times, if you've heard some of my other prepared talks as we've gone into starting this process, courses, as you all know, are these living, breathing things, and they're not sort of flat file data. You can't just say, well, discussion here always matches up with discussions there, or this kind of course content always matches up with this kind of course content. You can't do that kind of mapping that we do in the IT world when we move content from one type of system to another. So we are kind of moving from one house to another, and we got to pack up the boxes and we got to move them. And so that's the hard part of this. I think once we get through that part, everybody will really be able to enjoy using Canvas. A few different ways you can get content into Canvas. First of all, every course in Canvas comes with this setup checklist. You can just add content straight into Canvas and just forget anything you've ever created before. I don't recommend that method, but for some of you who don't use Blackboard a lot and only have maybe 4 or 5 pieces of content that you load up for your students because it's a face-to-face class and you are meeting the policy expectation of having your syllabus and those sorts of things in Canvas in the learning management system, but you don't do a lot else with it, that may be the best way for you, and that's completely okay. But they walk you through here some nice guides of what you can do in Canvas, starting with importing content. And that is my second way that I want to show you how we can put content into Canvas. Let me go back to my class, and that is to import it from Blackboard. So you would do that by logging into your Blackboard course. So I've got Blackboard up here on the screen. There we go. You can see my Blackboard window now. I'd go into my course and go to Packages and Utilities, into Export Archive Course. I would create an export package. Now, I've already done that, so I would download this export package, come back into Canvas once I've saved that on my computer, go to the settings for my course in Canvas, import content into this course, and then I would select the Blackboard export file, upload that file. I'm not going to actually walk through this because it takes about 5 minutes, 5 to 10 minutes, depending on the size of the course. I'm actually going to do it, but I would choose that file, so I would upload it from my computer, selecting the appropriate file and hitting OK. I'm not going to do that. And then hit import. Now, again, this is just an introduction to how it works, but it's not a hard process. It takes about probably about 10 minutes per course to do that part, and then again about 5 to 10 minutes per course, depending on the course size, for those courses to be imported and that process to actually run. We'll put together guides and videos as we get ready for folks to actually do that. But it is that simple. Okay, now there's another way, though, that you can also import, and let me tell you what that looks like after you do that before I go on to the other way that we do content in Canvas. If you're familiar with our IvyYT classes, this is one that I exported a copy of one of the IvyYT classes straight out of Blackboard into Canvas. Now, I have been moving things around in this course all over the place, so like things from week 4 and week 12 now and those sorts of things. But you can see the sort of basic structure of the course. You may notice some of these from the statewide course template if you've used our statewide course template. We have the summary and overview, assignments, all of those sorts of things. So all of this imports over and does work quite well. Where we see the most problems so far, test banks tend to come in a little wonky sometimes, but the nice thing about it is that it does give you a nice report of anything that it had difficulty with. So then the final way that we, the final major way you can get course content into Canvas is through what we call the Commons. And I see Florence is asking a question if there's a way to export individual items from BB to Canvas without doing an export package for a whole course. And Florence, you can. It's somewhat complicated, but if you talk to Adam, Adam should be able to help you out with that. There are some ways to do that. And you can do areas, which I see is what Kathy replied to you. Areas are pretty easy. Specific items take a little more sort of magical wandering on the back end, but it can be done. So, and Ann is asking if there are going to be written or online manuals with all of this information. Absolutely. Again, we'll do quite a few online guides. There are also online guides on the Canvas page, so that's a really nice opportunity for me to show you those. I just did a quick Google search for Canvas guides, and that takes me to Canvas instructor guides. This is also what's in the handout that we provided you in the handouts pod, so that a link to this is also in that handout. And you can see all of these different topics are in the Canvas instructor guide, and I can search that. So maybe I want to search import contents. I'll just do import and see what happens. So I just typed import in the search box, hit enter on my keyboard. I'm waiting on the slow internet today. There we go. And you can see I've got the course import tool, which should be the instructors one. And that is a nice tutorial that walks you through how course imports work. Okay? But we'll have some other videos and things for things that are IvyTech specific. Okay? So the last way that you can get content into Canvas is from what we call the Commons. And for those of you, I know there are a lot of people online today. I recognize a lot of your names who teach some of our statewide courses or mentor and develop our statewide courses. I know Florence is one of those folks. I know several others of you that do that. Do our statewide courses. And so this is a way we know we'll organize our statewide courses. But we also think for many of you in your regions, I saw some questions about from folks like chairs and those sorts of folks. We also know in your regions you often maintain course shells for your regions for on-ground courses. We believe you'll be able to do that through the Commons as well. And so I want to show you sort of how the Commons works and what it is very briefly. And so in the Commons, first of all, you'll notice that I have two different options for how I search this. I can show public resources. Let's grab my little highlighter here. I can show public resources, which is what I have showing now. And as I browse through, this is just the quick browse of the published resources. They're sorted right now by most recent. I can change that, or by latest. I can change that sort. Once I search, I can change that sort if I want to. And the Commons is a place where faculty from all over the country, or I guess the world, wherever Canvas is doing business, can share content publicly if they choose to do so. So I know Florence is on, and Florence does content for one of our French classes. So let's look at content on French, and we're going to look for only modules. So I want a whole learning module, and I want things that are for the undergraduate level only. Okay? So just with that quick search, these are a list of all of the public modules available on Canvas that have something to do with French. Now I don't know if this is French language or French culture or any of those sorts of things, but if Florence wanted to use one of these modules in her course, she could just click on it and import it into her course. Now I'm going to show you that, that skill here with something from our Canvas environment. Let me reload my Commons page here. There we go. So I cleared out my search. And so I'm going to show you, instead of looking at public resources here on the left, I'm going to uncheck this box. So I'm now only looking at the IvyTech resources. So these are resources published only to IvyTech. And one of the questions we've been getting is, well, there's still be a course template that I can use similar to how we do in Blackboard, and there is. And so that is the current iteration of that. We're getting feedback on that from our group of super users right now so that we can modify that, but that template is here in this template demo. And this is actually what I want to import into my course. So I'm going to check my import from C4 course, because that's the course I want to import into. But you could see that you could actually import the exact same content into multiple courses at the same time. And I'm going to hit it into import. And it'll take just a minute for that to happen, and it will finish up for me. I'm going to go back to my dashboard. and back to my import from C4. Just as quickly I could have gone to my courses button and gone to import from C4. I'm so used to doing it wrong. I always go back to the dashboard. And you'll notice now there's an announcement in this course. This is the course we were looking at a minute ago that was completely empty. You'll notice there is now an announcement in this course. And if I come down here to pages, there are now some pages in this course. And if I come back to my home screen now, there we go. Now my home screen is in there. It's still taking just a second to load. So this is an example of a template that we're working on for all of you to be able to utilize that you could then edit and customize. We would customize the buttons to make them appropriate to whatever the subject area was, and we could work on that. Each one of these buttons then takes you into the module for that course. So that linked me straight to Module 7, but it's just really linking me straight to the module tool. Okay. So let's take a look now that I've added my template, at how easy it is to add content to my course. And let's start out with the syllabus. So this is the syllabus template. The syllabus in Canvas is very different from the way we think of the syllabus that we upload to Blackboard right now. If you think about the syllabus we upload to Blackboard right now, number one, it's lengthy. This is still long. We're trying to work on honing it down just a little bit. It is still kind of long, but we have tried to take those things that are pretty much the same across all the courses and link out to them, but they could still be customized by that sort of course. There's still a section for instructor communication that you would add, assignments and grading, all of those sorts of things. So we may still tighten this up a little bit by linking out to other pages where appropriate, because all of these are just pages that exist within the course. So if I click out here to the course outline of record, that takes me to a page where I could grab that information, going back to my syllabus. And I can edit this. So if I want to edit it, here's my nice editor. It's very, very easy for me to edit information. So I can come straight in here, type in my name, phone number. It's very, very easy to do this. Think about how you have to do this in Blackboard today. You have to download that syllabus to your computer, save it somewhere, update it, all of those sorts of things. It's really cumbersome. Here it's very, very easy because it's all on screen. You don't have to do anything else to it. Now, here's the next thing about this that I love, and that is that if you scroll all the way to the bottom, this is why we want to shorten this up as much as we can by using some linked documents wherever possible. You see this course summary, and right now there's nothing on it. It's empty. The nice thing about this is this builds automatically as I add new things to this course. So let's see how we would do that. First of all, I'm going to go into the calendar for this course. And maybe this is a face-to-face course, so I'm going to go into my calendar, and I'm going to turn off everything else except for my import from C4. There we go. So now I'm only looking at that calendar. And I'm going to add a class meeting. So class meeting number 1, and it's going to be tomorrow. This is a Tuesday, Thursday class, and this class meets from 1 o'clock p.m. to 3 o'clock p.m. There we go. And it meets in Ivy Hall. Okay. And I'm making sure it's still on that import from C4 calendar, and I'm going to hit submit. And I'll scroll down just a little bit. There we go. I can see that class meeting. All right. If I go back to that course, notice that right here on the coming up on the main home page, now I have a class meeting showing up for that course. Okay, so it's automatically updating those things as I add them. Now it also added that class meeting to the course summary. Okay. Now, if you don't want the class meetings to show up on your sort of syllabus, that's fine. You don't have to have those on there. But it is a really nice way to do that if you want to. You can also link to information in those and add additional handouts or resources or things that students can use. You can also print this page. I've seen a couple questions come through about that. It actually prints quite nicely. Let me see if I can print PDF just so you can see what that looks like. Go. I'm just saving the PDF document. It will take just a second here. I think I saved that to my desktop. Yeah, I did. Go. So go out to my desktop and see that it actually saves quite nicely. It looks very nice. These links also, because I have access to this course, those links should work. I've not tried that, so I'm saying should, but they should work. But you can see that it actually prints very, very nicely, including links out to those class meeting items. So it does actually create a really nice printable view as well for the syllabus. Okay, let's add a couple of other items to this course. So let's actually go over to my modules page. I'm just building out my course. And maybe here in Module 1, I'm going to do an overview. So I'm going to click on that item, and I'm going to edit it. You may notice this, recognize this from our course template. And I'm going to do in this course, we'll be learning about accounting. This is the world's worst objective, and I acknowledge that. You can learn more about this subject here. I want to show you how easy it is to link to an item that exists within the course. In Blackboard today, you can, it's not too difficult to link from maybe one section of a course to another, but to actually take an item that you've uploaded in another section of a course and include it somewhere else is really, really difficult. In Canvas, it's extremely, extremely easy. Here on the right-hand side of the page, I have this list of links, and it links out by sort of topic area. I can link to my different pages that I have in my course, to the assignments. I don't have any assignments yet. We're going to create one in a second. To quizzes, to announcements, discussions, to different modules, and then to the other course navigation items, which are sort of links to these items down the left-hand side here. So you can really customize the way your course looks. I'm just going to link to this page here. We'll link to this one. There we go. Not the best link in the world, but it's that easy. I highlighted the text I wanted, clicked on it, and it's now blue. I can do the same thing with any other item, highlighting it and linking to it very, very easily. When I'm done doing that, I can hit Save. Now, before I do that, though, I do want to highlight something to you. Skip mentioned as we were going through it that Canvas is very wiki-like. Wiki, if you're not familiar with that, although most people, because of WikiLeaks, at least have a little bit better idea of what the kind of concept of a wiki is. Wikis are collaboratively edited web spaces. And so I've actually done some assignments in some of my courses where I had students work on group projects by creating a wiki about a topic we were learning about in class. So you can actually create any page in Canvas to be a part of your course wiki if you want to. So I can do that by just changing it from only teachers to teachers and students, or anyone if we had other roles set up in the system. Right now I think we're just going to have teachers and students, so you could do that one. But you could actually let students co-edit content for the course right there with you, which is a really great way to have students learn. When I'm done, I just hit Save, and that content has now been updated. Okay? Let's say that I want to add an assignment into my module. Take a look at how we would do that. I could come here to this Add button and add whatever I want to add. So I can just choose this drop-down of what I want to add: an assignment, a quiz, a file, content page, discussion. So all these different things. We're going to add an assignment, and it's a new assignment, and I'm going to call it Assignment 1 because I'm being super creative today. And I'm going to have it indent. I actually want it to sort of appear underneath the module overview, so you can kind of create this outline view if you like that view. You don't have to, but I like it, so I'm going to add an item. You'll notice that it's down here. I can drag that up here because it's actually one of my learning activities, so I want it underneath my learning activities. Notice that it is not published yet. That's because there's nothing in it. I still have to edit it, but I can publish it just by clicking this checkbox or this little cloud icon, and I can unpublish it the same way, so it's very easy to hide content if I need to. And I'm going to edit this assignment. Oh, sorry. I'm going to edit this assignment by clicking on it here. There we go. And I want to edit that. And here are all the things I can create for an assignment. So I can add, again, I can still link to content that's in other places in the course. I can add files from my course files area for this course. I don't think I have a few files here. And I can also add images from an image search or from my own content area. It's a really nice way to do that. You can add videos, all of those sorts of things. I can also add media right into the page. So I'm going to record a quick video. Just hit allow to allow my camera to work here. There we go. Take just a second. All right. And there's a little button right in the front that's right over my face that says click anywhere to start this. So let me do that. And it's still connecting because we have a crazy internet connection today. All right, I'm going to pretend like this is working properly. Hi, everybody. In this assignment, I would like you to post an introduction of yourself and write a brief essay about why you're excited to use Canvas. When that was done, there should be a stop button right here because, again, you've seen that I'm having internet issues all through the class. I'm not going to try to do that. But you would hit the Save button, and it will render up, and it will actually show as a little media icon here. Now, there's nothing wrong with the tool. We're having an internet issue here today at the system office, apparently, and we've noticed that throughout. So I've done this in every other video up until today, and it's worked beautifully. So there's no reason to think that there's anything wrong with the tool. It's just a little internet hiccup today. All right, I'll just go ahead and type a little bit of text here just so we've got something. Give it a point value. Again, we'll talk about sort of how the grade book works and how grading features work as we get closer to training on teaching skills, so we won't spend too much time on that. But I do want to talk about the different options we have for submission types. So you can actually choose whether it's no submission, so you might use this for class participation, or maybe students have to do an externship and come back and do an oral report on that, so they're not going to actually submit anything. You can also do an online submission and on paper. So if you want to communicate to students very, very clearly, you're going to do an on-paper submission, and maybe you want to return grades to them on paper. In fact, let's do that. Let's do this one as an on-paper submission. So you can see why. Why would I want to put this in the grade book in Canvas and track this way? First of all, I can communicate to students very clearly about what the expectations are up here. I can do it as an on-paper submission. I also can set the due date for it. So this is going to have a due date of next Friday. And I could change the time if I wanted to. And I'm going to hit Save and Publish. The reason why, even for an on-paper item that I might want to do this, is you can see that I could add a rubric to this here, and then you can actually use that rubric to grade the student's work in the speed grader. So even if you have a stack of paper assignments, you could actually attach the rubric to the paper assignment item in Canvas and be able to run through the grading of it via the rubric using the speed grader, which every faculty member from every institution that has used Canvas, when I ask them, what do you love the most about Canvas, they're like, the speed grader. And they say it really helps to streamline their workflow and make life a little bit easier for them. I can't wait to play with it. We haven't gotten to play with it a whole lot yet. All right, so we added a new assignment. Let's go see what happened to our syllabus. Down here at the bottom, all the way down here at the bottom, that new assignment got added straight to our syllabus. Because it is also coming up here in the next few days, you will notice on my dashboard now when I look at it, I've got quite a bit showing here. I've got a lot to do. Assignment 1 now shows up. So it's a really, really nice option to do. Patty's asking, can you upload a file to an assignment for students to open? Absolutely, Patty. I just glossed through that really quickly, but you definitely can. Okay? So that's a very easy thing to do. Okay? All right, so with that, I think I've shown you. I wanted to show you discussions too. Sorry, I knew there was one other thing. So we're going to go back to our modules, and we're going to add a new discussion here to Module 1. And it's a new topic. And this is Discuss Section 1, Add Item. And I'm going to, again, drag that up where I want it to be. And I can go straight into that to then customize it. So I can edit it. And again, I can give it any text that I want, add any information to it. Please discuss. You would add far more information to this. And here's another example of where you can do that attachment option somebody was just asking about. So you can attach things to it. So you've got lots of different options here, whether you can allow threaded replies, whether a person has to post before they can see it. If you're using the audio-video feature of Canvas, the video submissions, you can actually turn this into a podcast feed. You can turn any discussion into a podcast feed. I'm really excited to try to experiment and play with that one. I think it's kind of cool. You decide whether this is graded or not, so you can give it a point value. We'll kind of give this a 10-point value. And add it as a discussion with a due date. So this is going to be due on the 7th. And save and publish again. On the discussion board page, let's go ahead and take a look at our discussions. A couple of nice features about discussions. First of all, you can organize them very quickly into 3 different groups. Pinned discussions always start out up at the top. And I can drag something. So maybe this is a discussion I always want to be at the top, or maybe I want it to be at the top for this week so that students don't have to scroll. I can throw it in my pinned discussions. At the end of the week, when it's closed for comments, I still want students to be able to review it. I can move it down to closed. Whoops. I can move it down to closed for comments. Maybe I have to drag it back there and then drag it here. Why is it not going to closed for comments? Huh. I wonder if that's because it's due February 7th and the due date hasn't passed. That is very possible. I will play with that again because it has let me do that in the past. You'll notice, though, that there are also some filtering features up here for being able to search through a comment discussions for a person or content or anything like that. So really, really a rich set of discussion features. We're just beginning to play with those quite a bit. So you'll see a lot of really new features with discussions that are pretty cool. Again, you can sort of turn any page or any piece of content into a discussion if you want to. You have that option as an instructor. So it's a much richer environment for feedback and those sorts of things. Right? So again, this was just a quick overview of things in Canvas. We're going to have lots more information coming to you over the course of this semester, lots of training opportunities, lots of additional information for you to access. Kathy and I are going to hang out here online. I see there are a few questions we still need to answer. For those of you who don't have any other questions, have a great day. I hope you, it's lunchtime here in Indianapolis, so I hope you can go have some great lunch. But for the rest of you, hang tight with us and we'll get to the rest of the questions that we have in there. So I see a question from Gwen about, does Canvas play nicely with Pearson's My Math Lab because it's essential? Gwen, it does. We're getting ready to install the connector that connects those two together. I will tell you, Pearson says it does. We haven't actually connected it yet, so we haven't gotten to test it for you guys to tell us whether it works nicely, but they say that it works quite well with them. And Patty asks, can modules have open and closed dates? And let me go back to modules, and they can, and I think you do that on edit. Yeah. So let me actually lock one here. So from the edit screen on a module, I can lock until, Patty, so I can set a date here so that I can unlock it at a certain time. You can also add some gating requirements, like if a student hasn't completed something yet, maybe they have to complete a quiz or something like that to unlock the next module. I can also do that here, as well as some requirements like grading percentages and all of those sorts of things. So I've got a lot of options that I can do for how to lock and unlock content. Take just another minute here to see if any other questions come in. The chat is not the same as GoToMeeting. So Canvas's chat, there we go. Canvas's chat is a little weird. Canvas's chat is sort of an all-class chat. And so if I type the message here, anybody that was in the class would be able to see it. So it's kind of a weird chat tool. It's a tool they're working on, and I didn't even talk about that in today's webinar. But Canvas updates regularly. So they do an update about every month to the product, and this is one of the tools we know updates will be coming out in the next 6 months or so. So GoToMeeting, as Kathy's mentioned, is a different tool. The chat here, it's only text chat. That's it. So no video, no audio, just text chat. We are also looking at potentially other instant messaging solutions. We know a lot of people like Blackboard Instant Messenger, and so we're looking at some other instant messaging options. And Florence has asked, Can students record a video with their screen capture, their webcam, and their microphone in groups, like when we use Blackboard? Canvas, or Florence, they can do, they can't do screen capture in it using the inboard video tool. They can just use webcam and microphone in that video tool I showed you quickly. And I see you want them to have their lines typed on a whiteboard for that. For that, you might need to have them start using GoTo, and that's something I think you should talk with Adam about. He may need to just talk through that with us so that we make sure we've got that use case covered for you. Penny asked if we'll have access to Big Blue Button for conferencing. Penny, you must be using Canvas somewhere else. That is under the, oops, I hit the wrong button. It's under Conferences here. Oops, I hit the wrong thing. Sorry. It's under Conferences. And yes, we do have access to that. It's a feature of Canvas. I've not played with it. I think it's for up to 6 people at a time, and they save the recording for a couple of weeks, if I remember correctly. But yes, we would have that ability. And I don't know if that might help with what Florence is talking about for her project. And yes, you can, but you can also still use, oh, and you say it's a great whiteboard to use, Penny. That's awesome. Hey, Penny, if you don't mind, I'm going to shoot my email address to you in the chat box here, out to everybody. I would love, I'm trying to collect some testimonials from faculty who do use Canvas at other institutions that we could then share out on our IvyLearn webpage. If you have one and you wouldn't mind shooting it to me in email, I would love to have that. That'd be fabulous. You don't have to, but if you would, I'd love that. And Patty, you've asked if we can still use GoToMeeting. Absolutely. We love GoToMeeting, and we still want you to use it just as much as you can, because we know it saves time, and it also allows you to interact in a lot of different ways with students. So absolutely. GoToMeeting is not going anywhere. Okay. Kath, how are we doing on questions?
I think I just answered the last one.
Okay. And Patty, you've asked if students can merge their calendars for all their courses. You can, and they kind of all are merged. So right here on the main calendar view, I just have the one course showing up right now. But if I click on my other courses, there we go. I know I've got stuff in that one. Our internet connection is really slow.
Patty, I also sent you a couple links in the question answers, the link to both the instructor guide and the student guide on calendars.
But it does let you see them all. Yeah, no, that's okay. That's great. It does let you see them all together as well. Okay. Give one more second here just to see if there are any more questions that come through. All right. Thanks again to everybody for joining us today. And with that, I will end the webinar.